What type of consciousness are we thriving that says the world is more than just my needs? How to navigate the education system, how to navigate what your young male is going through, what to look for. We also so I'm teaching my sons a lot about the importance of knowledge of self. That's why whenever you see me, you always see me with a set of books. I teach my kids to understand who they are. Those things that I'm trying to pour into my kids are something that I wish I had. That's why every morning I tell my kids, I love you.
Man, what's up,
What's
Ashford?
up, sir?
What's up, good girl?
You
You
to
too,
see
man.
you, good to see
Again,
you.
right? Thank you. Welcome back to another episode of My Manhood Matters with your boy, Charles Sneed. Real men, real lives, real journeys. I am in the company of a great brother in my life. His name is none other than Mr. Ashford Hughes Sr. He is definitely a community activist. He's a community leader. He's an educator, and he's doing a great thing. I cannot complete this whole season without you, Ashford Hughes. Even though I called you 15 times, and on the 15th try, he finally answered. Man, welcome to the show, brother.
Man, look, again, thank you for having me. Thank you for
For the second
patience
time.
for the second time.
Second time.
Thank you for the patience of waiting for me and then having me on here today.
Yeah, let me tell you. So, the first time I did it, all my stuff got damaged.
Man, that was what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, when we first did it. Ashford was with the first taping, but this is the second time. Ashford, because of who you are and what you represent, when you think about manhood, what one word describes manhood and why?
When I think about manhood, there's so many thoughts that come to mind, but I'm gonna start with responsibility.
Okay.
For me in the journey, it's a responsibility that we owe to give back. It's a responsibility that we owe as men to show up every day, to think beyond our individual selves, but how we impact our communities, how we impact the world around us. But it takes a profound consciousness to understand that it is a responsibility of manhood that we have.
What has been a challenge for you?
The challenge for me is being okay.
In this state of mind.
In this state of mind, the challenge is being okay with the evolution of myself.
Oh, what does that mean?
So, I believe that over the years I've evolved from teenage Ashford to Ashford that was birthed at the trauma of the death of my best friend via gun violence in Knoxville, the evolution of being a father, and then putting those pieces together to now the evolution of how do I show up as a man and impact my community, given the space and time that we're in now, the political environment, the social environment. How do I show up and impact these things without losing my sense of self?
And showing up for your family, because you have a son and a daughter, right?
Man, I have two sons.
Two sons, so that's a whole
responsibility.
Yeah. What are you teaching your sons now that you didn't get back when you was raised?
So I'm teaching my sons a lot about the importance of knowledge of self. That's why whenever you see me, you always see me with a set of books. I teach my kids to understand who they are. I didn't grow up in a home with a father.
You didn't?
I didn't grow up in a home with a father. It was my mother. I was raised by my mother, and spent a lot of time with my grandmother.
Okay, grandma.
And what I'm teaching my sons is to be consistent.
Okay.
To be good men, to be good boys, and understanding what that actually looks like. I'm trying to teach them every day by modeling the behavior to them that manhood, the measure of a manhood, is the distance between their words and their actions. I can say a lot of things, but if I don't model the behavior that I want my two young males to know, it's not gonna happen. The second thing I'm teaching them is the importance of literacy, the importance of reading, the importance of study. Not just the study that we get in public education, but the study of self, understanding the world around you. And that takes literacy, that takes loving reading, that takes community. And how do we build those things up? And those are the things that I'm trying to continue to pour into my two young males as they go from malehood to manhood.
How old are they now, Ashford?
My oldest is 11, my youngest is 6.
How do you keep them from the whole social media piece? For healthy manhood versus unhealthy manhood?
With intentionality.
Okay.
So I fill up my kids' time with, they come to all of my mentorship gatherings that we have.
We'll talk about that a little later.
I also ensure that we have space and time to learn about the things that we may not get in school. So we spend time reading together. We spend time in nature together as a family. We spend time sitting around the table talking about things. One of the things that I didn't get a chance, not growing up with the man in the house, was to really express my feelings. feelings, right? As a
right.
man around other men.
Right. You better not cry.
You better not cry, right?
Right.
And it's heavy having been raised like that and trying to turn a switch to raise my sons differently to say your feelings do matter. You do have a space to understand your feelings in presence of me, hugging, loving. Those things are important.
How long did it take you to learn that? When you got married?
Man, I'm still learning. I'm still learning and cultivating what that looks like. Because sometimes I even revert back to the way my mom was like, because I said so.
Oh,
right?
Gotcha.
This is, suck it up. And sometimes I say to myself, no, that's not the right way to go. So it started a little bit before fatherhood when I was at Tennessee State learning, because I have a minor in Africana Studies, and learning the ways of the indigenous peoples and how do we not just think about the individual, but think about the community and the family. And as I became a father, it's when it really clicked to me, I want to give them a different experience. I didn't grow up with the man in the house telling me every day.
No granddaddy.
I had my uncles, but they weren't in the house. So my uncles had one of my uncles that passed away years ago that was like my father, lived in Atlanta. The uncle I was close to at the time, he lived maybe about a mile or two from me, but he had his own family. So yes, when I saw them, they poured love into me. But in my household, there was never a man every day that gave me a hug that said, I love you. Let's talk about these affirmations. Let's talk about the strength inside of you. Now, I had church fathers, right? The man that taught me how to tie a tie was my Sunday school bus driver. Mr. Spencer. Would never forget Mr. Spencer. But those things that I'm trying to pour into my kids are something that I wish I had. That's why every morning I tell my kids, I love you. Every night I kiss them, I hug them, tell them I love you. And every morning before school, we say affirmations. Because I want them to get to know the innate power and the value that they have for themselves, for our family, and for society.
That's a good thing. So because you didn't have a man in the house, did it affect you how you dated women?
Absolutely. So manhood growing up was, I learned manhood by the other guys in the community. Some of the cats that was hustlers. I learned through the music, the hip-hop.
Back then the cable had to turn knobs.
All of that. My grandmother had the flat TV in the back room that had 5 other things on top of it. All of those, the 5 channels, the music, the culture. That's how I learned how to really interact with women. Now, the one saving grace for me, though, also, I had 5 aunts and a mother. So there was enough to be like, what you're not gonna do is this, right? And my grandmother, and it was like, okay, in our family, you need to hold yourself up to a certain type of character. Now, again, grew up in a single family, single parent family. So there were some times that I was in the streets, that I was doing things that wasn't the likeness of a man. And this is high school age and doing different things. But I always understood how the importance of respecting women was, even though it was like, yeah, I want 1 girlfriend, maybe 2 girlfriends. And now I'm like, that was disrespectful to those women, disrespectful to the honor of my grandmother. So I had to learn over time how to really embrace and treat a woman as my equal and as someone that makes me better, right? And that's why the woman that I'm married to now, the woman that I'm blessed to have said yes, she is my equal, she is my partner, and she is someone that wholeheartedly has helped to make me a better man along the way.
How'd she make you a better man?
Man, because she shows me every day that she believes in me. She is able to, that's important. She challenges me intellectually, she challenged me emotionally. Sometimes when I'm coming up short with my sons and reverting back to that, man, come on, you gotta suck it up. She asked me different questions like, hey, think about you not growing up in a family with a man, and now you're in your family with your sons. Think about the pressure they have on them to want to show that they are following through with you, that they're making you proud. Think about that sometimes,
Let me ask you this, Ashford. What would you say to the millennial men today? Because there's so much going on. True identity, healthy identity. What would you tell the millennial man?
Man, there's so many things. I would tell them to be patient with themselves. Be patient with yourselves, but find time to be with yourself. I think sometimes in our communities, specifically around Black men, we are fearful of being in spaces by ourselves. And by spaces, I mean at home, in quiet, with nothing around us, just thinking and
No
listening.
social media, no cell
social
phone.
media, no cell phone, because we have to grapple with who we are. When
The
we're
inner
in
voice.
quiet time, that inner voice comes into us, and there may be some things that we don't like. There's some trauma, and there's some vulnerability when being alone and being in quiet that exposes who we are. And I would tell the young millennials, take time to be in quiet by yourself sometimes.
Okay.
Think things through. I would tell them also, commit to being exposed to different experiences. Right, there was a point in time in my life where most of the black men I know didn't even go outside of the city, let alone travel across state lines, right? Some of them didn't even leave the east side of town.
That's true. Natural shores, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
exposure.
Right.
Be willing to be exposed to different and positive things.
Right.
Be okay to walk away and be different, right?
Right.
But also build strong community with people that are like-minded,
Like-minded.
people that will help you grow. One of the toughest things that I had to learn along the way, and some of my best friends, we're still friends to this day, right? But I had to walk a different walk. So I may not see them all the time. You can't be fearful of letting go.
You can't be fearful.
Sometimes you have to let people go.
Right.
Sometimes you have to let things go in order for you to grow.
Right.
And as a man, manhood to me is a lot about consciousness.
Okay.
What type of consciousness are we thriving that says the world is more than just my needs? The world is about my family, about my community, about society.
Right.
How does that consciousness then help us have actions to prove what we're saying we care and who we are to be?
Is that one of the reasons why you and I think Lionel started partnering with former President Barack Obama on "And My Brother's Keeper"?
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
One of the reasons that mentorship was important to me, I talk about my freshman year at Tennessee State, my sophomore year at Tennessee State University. My best friend was killed in an alley with other friends. Some of my friends ran one way, he ran another way. When some people tried to rob him, he was killed at 19 years old. About 6 to 8 months later, another friend in that same circle that was there that night was also killed, arguing over a girl at an AutoZone, 5 blocks from where my best friend was killed. Unfortunately, I've had 3 friends that have been killed by gun violence.
Wow.
That trauma of my best friend being killed spawned a promise that I made to my grandmother.
Okay.
And my grandmother was a woman I went to church with, woman I spent a lot of time with. She taught me how to cook, taught me a lot of things. I promised her and I promised my best friend's mother that no longer would I live that type of lifestyle, but I would submit myself to making certain that my community wasn't a place where black men ended up dead or in jail based off of these negative circumstances. So I saw something in my grandmother's eyes. There's nothing like looking in your grandmother's eyes and seeing the worry, the concern that you may be dead as well. Friends, if you like what you're hearing and you're seeing, I invite you to subscribe to My Manhood Matters on YouTube and all social media platforms to continue to understand and learn why your leadership and your manhood matters.
So you're a hero to a lot of people. No, finish your story. How you came with My Brother's Keeper? Go ahead.
So with My Brother's Keeper, so I've always thought about how do I give back to younger generations, right? How do I give them the ideology? How do I help them build their consciousness to be strong black men, black women, that we can move forward? So Lionel and I, under Mayor Carl Dean, is when the city first went into, we want to be a part of what President Obama was doing. Lionel and I began working for then Mayor Barry, and saw the program had been dormant. We wanted to find a way, how do we continue to give back to our young males, to give them the skills, the tools to increase and better themselves, to enhance their opportunity of life. We took the charge and the mantle to take it where it was then, to build it out to where we are now, because we understand the importance of being men, of being elders in our community, and rearing our children up a certain way. What we're trying to do with My Brother's Keeper is cultivate a process by which these young males become strong men. And it is a process. I'm a strong believer, and we incorporate within our curriculum a rites of passage program program.
Right.
Because historically with indigenous people, with African people, we have always had a consciousness and a pathway, an intentional pathway and a process of becoming from a boy to a male to a man.
Right.
With My Brother's Keeper, we try to incorporate a lot of those principles. We try to focus really on two key areas of focus for our young males. Literacy,
Right.
because we know that literacy leads to liberation.
Right.
If you don't liberate the mind, the body is going to stay in the same place. But once you liberate the mind,
Right.
the body can now move in that proper direction. And then we want to make certain that our young people are college and post-graduation ready for life. Not just to go and work for somebody, not just to be happy to be alive, but like, how do we help you enhance who you are as an individual? How do we help you contribute back to your community, to your family, to the people around you? And that's why we have been growing and building with My Brother's Keeper Alliance and connecting not just in Nashville, but across the nation with the
Right.
work that we're leading.
So, how many people have joined My Brother's Keeper? How do we join My Brother's Keeper?
So we have 2 or 3 things. We have one, a leadership table, which is almost like a board that we lead, and we meet once a quarter with these leaders. So our director of schools, Dr. Battle, our mayor now, Freddie O'Connell, and other leaders at that level. We have a community partner table that is made up of around 15 community organizations. We're a collective impact model, which means we take all of these nonprofit organizations and leaders and come to a table and design ways that we can partner and work together for the benefit of these young males. We had at our most recent youth summit, we had around 250, 260 young males that we partner with that came to the summit. We have programs in several of the MNPS schools. We have a program one Saturday a month now in Metro schools that we lead called The King in Me.
I saw that.
It's a program with several pillars that we work with about 25 to 30 young males. So in all, we have about 250 young males that we work with on a consistent basis. We have about 30 adults, organizations that we work with on a regular basis to help build and grow this out.
It's so funny. So those who watching the show today, I wanted people like Ashford, Aaron, Demetrius, Marcus, to give a platform where you have strong, not just black men, but strong men doing great things in the community. So as they give you their social media outlets, or reach out to me so you can get that information, so you can get your young men in these type of programs. And parents, you need to get involved as well, because a lot of times, especially single mothers, because I've been a single mother for a minute, they lost. They need healing. So while you're taking your sons to My Brother's Keeper or the Kings and Me, parents, it's a time y'all get some counseling too, so y'all could continue to build and grow as a family. That's very, very important.
Yep, and that's what we've begun to incorporate in some of the work. We've had this session with single moms, just mothers in general, how to navigate the education system, how to navigate what your young male is going through, what to look for. We also had a conversation with fathers. Fathers, this is how you engage, because oftentimes fathers feel like they don't know how to engage with the education system or know how to do these things with young males.
You know what I do for a living?
What do you do, Brother Sneed?
I'm a manager of child support services. So if we have to edit, I don't know if we can use that, but I see the whole dynamic. If we have this thing, we have a resource coordinator. If we can impact that type of program into y'all's program to teach fathers how do I deal with this baby mama drama. They don't know, they want to be in their kids' lives, but the baby mama is so extra. You know, we get type like, oh, ain't gonna fool with us. I bet I'll just be by themselves. The kids need their father. But I need to talk about that to my team at work. How can we incorporate? Yeah, we got to work that out.
And then I'm going to even take it back further. Yes, what you're saying is correct. We want to work with our young males to get them before there's a baby mama.
That's true.
We want to work with the organization that work with young girls to get them out of baby mama mentality.
Right.
So we're teaching these young males to be men. How do you respect women? How do you look at them differently than just something for your pleasure?
Right.
How do you look at these young women as your equal to help you grow and thrive as a community?
So how do they date? Do they date as teenagers?
So some are dating what they call dating. It's not dating like we used to, you be on the phone all night. Hey, I like you, like you. So many different avenues to that because of social media, right? And the challenge of social media, of even what they know about dating.
Right.
To be honest, many of our kids, because we have the COVID lost year, we also have the destruction of the black family over the years for a variety of reasons. We miss out, or we have lost some of the traditional learnings and understandings of what does it mean to be in relationship with each other, let alone a romantic or intimate relationship. So these kids don't even understand what dating is. They don't understand.
And they doing things earlier than what we did.
Earlier, and now because again social media, you have access to pornography, you have access to all these sexual things that wasn't there. So they're learning about these things on social media rather than having conversations with elders, with men in the community. But that's where manhood says we take back our community as men.
And being consistent.
We have to show up in a different manner. We're going into 2025. We have a lot of political things that are taking place. So I'm thinking of, as a man, how do I show up in 2025 and beyond, given the political and the social landscape?
How do you show? That's a good question. You're interviewing yourself. What's it look like for Ashford at 2025?
For Ashford Hughes, this is how Ashford Hughes Sr., this is how I'm showing up. I'm showing up with 2 or 3 key things in mind. One, how do I continue to show up and love myself on a daily basis? Self-care. This is why this book, A Healing Journal for Black Men. We all should be journaling, identifying how we love and heal ourselves. I'm figuring out how do I show up best for my 2 young men that are in my household. How do I give them the tools to be strong men, to be strong providers, to be strong community leaders? That's my greatest job as a man right now, is to ensure that they are raised with the proper tools.
How do you balance that, Ashford? Ashford, community leader, Ashford, educated, professional, husband, father. How do you balance that without losing Ashford?
I have to find those spaces in time where I can pray, where I can breathe, where I can identify my quiet spaces of time. I have to value my boundaries.
That's a good question.
And I have to be able and willing to say no.
That's good.
I have to be willing to say no.
That's the new
But
yes.
my boundaries, it takes time to be able to stand on business and say my boundaries are my boundaries. I can't. If I let one person creep over the line one time, then everybody gonna creep over, right? But when it's time for me to cut off, when I pull up to the house at 5:30, 6 o'clock, before I get into the garage, I gotta stop for 20 minutes and say, I need to sit here for a second. Because when I open that garage door to the house, I'm daddy. I'm a husband. I'm a father. All those things, right? The third thing that I need to do, the way I'm showing up in 2025, is I have to align. How do I continue to cultivate the consciousness in our young males, and particularly young Black and brown males? How do I cultivate in them the knowledge of self? How do I cultivate in them avenues by which they can excel? Not just how they can come out of school, graduate, and get a job. How can they excel in building culture, in building community, in establishing businesses and opportunities for themselves beyond Nashville, beyond Tennessee? Global leaders. But it's not gonna happen by happenstance.
That's true.
So how am I intentionally cultivating and crafting programs and opportunities to make that happen?
How can we give back?
I think several ways to be able to give back. One, follow us on social media. My Brother's Keeper Alliance. Follow me on My Brother's Keeper Nashville. Follow me on different avenues of social media. Learn how to get involved with these mentorship programs with young males.
One thing, because eventually My Manhood Matters is going to have merch, right? And so we'll sell merch, but the whole ticket for me is to donate programs like yours, like Aaron's, like Demetrius, like Mark. I don't want to start a mentorship program. It's enough outlet out here. I just want to hit Ashford. Here's $10,000. Do what you got to do. I don't. If we do, we're doing a summit soon, but we're targeting college kids all the way up to 99. The ultimate goal for My Manhood Matters is to develop a center. And you'll call me and say, hey, Sneed, my mom needs to go to the doctor. I can't take her. That's okay. You'll call the M3 Center. We have a transportation service. We're gonna pick up your mom because ain't nobody taking care of the elderly either.
Yep, that too. That too.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So man, I keep doing it. You still having the quarterly meeting? I went to the first one. I missed. Y'all still have those type of meetings?
Man, we still have those same
Plug me
quarterly
back
meetings.
in, Ashford.
Absolutely.
Plug me back in. Just keep me informed, man. Thank you for coming, man.
Man, thank you for doing this work. Like this, everybody in 2025 is going to have to come with a brick. And if we're going to build the type of houses in the community we want to live in, we got to do something. So thank you for being active in doing
Yes,
the work,
sir.
right?
Thank you, sir. Somebody called me the other day. They want to build a Manhood Matters school over there. I said, so slow down. I got to do the work in my own community first before I try to go global. But yeah, when I do a summit, I'm bringing the team, so we can really do the work. I talked to. Do you know who King J. Burnett is?
That name sounds familiar.
King J. He's the big Black mental health coach for Black men, and he was like, Sneed, it's good that you have your summits, but make sure you have plenty of counselors there because they're gonna need it. Because one summit can't change. He said that's the only downfall because he does the Just Heal Bro tour.
Okay.
It was him, Lamar Rucker. It was like 6 guys. They did it for 3 years.
Can I say this? I want this to be on camera. My final manhood piece.
Okay, go ahead.
In 2025 and beyond, you assembled a dream team of Black men here. I've seen some of the other shows. You got some other good brothers on there. We as Black men need to come in these communal spaces more often.
Okay.
We as Black men need to, what do they say? The greatest of thee is love.
Yeah.
We need to be willing to love our brother, to give our brother like you reverence for the work that you're doing, right?
Wow.
Not just in the faith spaces, but in these communal spaces, right?
Yeah.
Once we as Black men and as men can really recycle and resurface the love and the reverence with each other, then the vibrations in our community change.
Right.
Then it starts to trickle out in different spaces.
I agree 150%, Ashford. I think Joshua Mundy is quoted on social media. He said, it's time to be collaborators in that competition. I'm first to reach out. But if I reach out 4 or 5 times, you have to put this on camera, 4 or 5 times, and I don't get a response, ain't nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do my part, connect with the brothers I know connect. I know my part for this whole thing because of my schedule, I'm gonna show up for the meetings, but I'm gonna get my money. I can't do it, but I'm a partner with Ashford, who's doing a great job. They're seeing the people. But yeah, I agree, we have to come. There's strength in unity.
Strength and unity, and Black women are doing it and kicking butt with it.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to,
What you think we're afraid of, Ashford?
vulnerability.
Okay.
That's one word. I'm gonna keep going. Vulnerability. It's hard for Black men to be vulnerable because then we're not as strong when we're vulnerable.
But not just that. If your program outdoing mine, I'm jealous, so I'm not gonna really fool with you. Or if my program doing better than you, well, your brain ain't on my same level, so I can't brand with you.
Well, see, that's why I go back to study in the consciousness. If you are of a consciousness of community,
Right.
there is no competition.
There's no need
right?
to.
You know how many kids are out here that need support? Many of our programs are only at a certain scale, right?
Right.
I'm talking about 250 kids. Somebody else may have a program with 100 kids. You know how many Black children are out here? You know how many children out here that need support? So there is no competition, but that comes with knowledge of self and the consciousness to say, it's beyond just my individual needs. When that group is supported, hey man, we can go to another group and keep supporting. It's not a competition. And when we keep seeing each other as competition, we fail to meet our true mission.
We fail to
meet our true mission.
That's a hashtag moment. We fail to meet our true mission. I gotta write that down. We fail to meet our true mission. Yeah, that's good. But Ashford, I ran out of time. We gotta have a part 2 and part 3.
Absolutely.
Man.
Thank you,
We'll
sir.
come at the round table.
People can find me on all social media platforms, Ashford Hughes Sr. People can find My Brother's Keeper Nashville on social media platforms, Facebook, X, and Instagram as MBK Nashville. Friends, if you like what you're hearing and you're seeing, I invite you to subscribe to My Manhood Matters on YouTube and all social media platforms to continue to understand and learn why your leadership and your manhood matters.